Okay, boys and girls, let's talk. One of the important things that we want to become, Jensen, is a good reader. And so we need to have some skills to become a good reader. And one of the things that good readers do is that they employ a skill called monitor and clarify. And so when you monitor and clarify, you ask yourself, do I understand what I just read? And we're going to be employing this skill in our story, Judy, Moody, Moody Martian, or Mood Martian by Megan McDonald. And a good reader is always trying to see, did I understand what I just read? And here's what you do. You say to yourself, did I understand what I just read? If you do, you just keep reading. If you don't, here are some skills that you can employ to help yourself. First off, when you don't understand a word, which can obviously happen when you're reading, you decode it again. So you break the word down to try to figure it out. Because a lot of times that word could be a word that you've heard before, but you haven't seen in print. So you try to use your phonics to figure out the word. You look for the context clues. So you look for the clues around the word, because they might have the definition in the word, in the clues around it. You replace it with another word that might make sense in that sentence. Or you look it up in a dictionary or glossary to find the meaning of the word. Okay, so that's when you don't understand a word. The next thing you can do when a section of a text is confusing, because sometimes that happens as well, you can make notes about what confuses you. So you can jot down some notes about what is confusing. You can think about what you know. And boys and girls, that is your schema. The schema is the things that you already know. So you can think about what you already know about the topic you're reading about. You can reread and look for details you might have missed. Because I find that sometimes when I'm reading, I might be a little bit distracted. I might have missed something in what I'm reading. And if I go back and reread, maybe it makes more sense the second time around. And then the other thing I can do is I can look at images and text features. So the text features might be a graph, a chart, a picture with a caption. And that might explain and help me understand better what I'm reading. And that will help me. All those things, oh, I keep losing this mask today. All those things will help me. So to reread it, I might reread that whole section again. But boys and girls, I'm always checking to see if I'm understanding. So I may not have to reread a whole lot because I'm checking, I'm monitoring to see, am I understanding what I am reading? And I've had to go back and reread sections of things that I'm reading because I realized that, number one, I didn't understand what I read. So I've gone back to reread it. Or who's ever had this happen where you really haven't been paying as much attention to what you were reading as you were supposed to? Who's ever had that happen? Everybody has that, where maybe there was a lot of activity going on around you, a lot of noise, and you weren't able to concentrate. And you read a whole page of a book and then you realize, I don't know what happened at all on that page. And then what do you need to do? You think to yourself, did I understand what I just read? And then you say no. So when you say no, you have to go back. You have to reread it to see so you can understand what has just happened in the book story that you are reading. And I have to do this as well. Don't understand a word. I don't know all the words. Do you know all the words? Anybody here know all the words in the world? I don't know all the words. So I always try, I use my phonics skills to figure it out, because it might be a word that I've heard but haven't really seen in print very often. Or I try to figure out, I use my context clues, and then I look it up. It's pretty handy having the Kindle if I'm reading on that, because then what do? You press on it and the definition pops up. But guess what? Sometimes it doesn't. And then I have to go and I have to look it up in a dictionary. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to practice how to monitor and clarify while we're reading Judy Moody. I think you're going to love reading this book. I'm super excited about it. Yes.
Are we going to read the whole book?
What?
Are we going to read the chapter book?
No, we're not going to read the whole chapter book. We're just reading an excerpt from it. An excerpt is part of the book. But you may like it so much that you'll want to read the actual book. Wouldn't that be fun? You'll be so intrigued by it. You'll want to get the book and read it. Yes?
And for homework, are we going to read the whole story or just the part?
Just the part